Hugo, good morning. How are you, my man?
What's up? What's up? What's up?
How are you?
Good morning to you. I like the white couches.
Thank you.
They're
Thank
very
you.
swanky.
Yeah, very, very. We're very high end here
Kinda
on
got
Rover's
a little
Morning Glory.
porn now. Chicka-wow.
You're. Are you? You still live down in Louisville? Is that where you're staying?
Yeah, I'm actually remodeling to move back to the East Coast.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Where are you gonna go? Where are you moving to?
My parents live in Boston. They're getting a little older. I want to go over there and be a good son, help them out a little bit.
So you want to go? You want to go over there? You've had enough of the Louisville area to last a lifetime.
Home's where you hang your hat, you know. But I did get these same couches. I swear. I have a bunch of dogs, and it was the worst idea ever to get white couches. But Finger Hut had a special.
Well. You have to get, if you have pets, you have to get, do you have leather or like
all
material?
Leather,
yeah.
All white leather. I went for the Tony Montana all the way.
Scarface, yeah.
You know, I don't know about the all white, but if you have pets, you have to go with leather furniture. If you get that material, they get fur all over the place.
This is what I did, bro. I got this like little thingamajigger that you put underneath, and it makes a high-pitched noise so that the dog doesn't jump on the couch.
Oh, really? So
problem is that my dog ate that thing. It doesn't work so well now.
So it didn't really work out in the long run.
Yeah, he's kind of a big dumb pit, but he's it's good. I got the insurance on it.
Let's.
I'm really excited about my couches. Can you tell? Well, let's not talk about music at all.
Let's talk about your life before we even get into music.
Okay.
You were born in Africa, I believe, correct? What were you doing in Africa, or what were your parents? Not you. You weren't born there, but what were they doing over there?
I'm Portuguese.
Okay.
And Angola and Mozambique were Portuguese colonies at the time. And my dad, being a big military dude.
So he was a military guy for Portugal.
He was a military guy in NATO and Portugal, blah, blah, blah. And he and my mom had spent 10 years living there, along with a lot of Portuguese people. But I personally don't remember. My older brother, who lives in LA now, he remembers a little bit of it. But apparently it all went to, hell. And
they said, "Hey, we've had enough of Portugal.
Yeah,
you guys
we don't want
out
you
here.
here with your white couches.
Yeah.
Get out." And then my parents, obviously, we were all immigrants. We came here, but I came here.
So then you guys came. You didn't go back to Portugal. You came to the United States.
We went back to like Lisbon for a little bit.
Sure.
And then my uncle Tony and go figure, right? My Uncle Tony and a bunch of family had already lived here in the East Coast in Boston. So, in the 70s, there was a big migration of Portuguese people that came over here to the East Coast, And then I lived in Detroit after Boston. Mm-hmm. I lived in Detroit for 10 years.
Which is worse, Detroit or Africa?
Well, you're probably it's different.
People in Africa, they look at Detroit and they go, "What? There are so many black people in Detroit."
Actually,
wow.
You can't just generalize all of Africa, I think, because from what my parents told me and the pictures that I have seen, the area that we lived in or they lived in was very beautiful. It was it wasn't like, people always just picture, Africa in a very general way, but it's, it was a very...
it wasn't a bunch of starving kids.
It wasn't it wasn't giraffes and elephants in your backyard and a bunch of starving kids.
Do you ever go back to Portugal ever?
I do go back to Portugal often. I own a home up there. It's quite lovely.
Portugal is
it's right on the Iberian Peninsula.
It's a strange place. I'll tell you why. I went to Portugal.
Did you go to the mainland or the?
I was in Lisbon.
Oh yeah.
And so
cool. I like Lisbon. I like.
I remember they have this bar area, and it's just a bunch of alleys. I don't know. I forget what it's called, but just tons of alleys and little bars.
Bairro Alto is what it's called.
It's right. But
that's good.
It's weird because coming from the United States, maybe this is normal in Portugal. Every 20 feet you walk, someone is trying to sell you cocaine just out on the street. Here's
the thing about Portugal. It's like there is no, like, every drug apparently is legal. But if you do get caught with any drug, what they do is they kind of take you to a place. You're like, hey, man, you might have a problem, But I don't think there's any like it's illegal to sell it, but it's not illegal to use it. I was watching. I didn't. It even
was
know
really
that.
weird.
It is weird. That area is weird. It's kind of like the red light district of Portugal, but with more drugs and less hookers.
And it took me. That's exactly what it was. They were. I didn't see any hookers. It wasn't like Amsterdam, but I saw a million
Amsterdam
people trying.
rocks.
And I was just walking in. It's like they have accents over there in Portugal, obviously, and so
but
I'm walking through.
Generally speaking,
and I had no. It took me like 3 people of ass, and then finally I go, oh, these guys are trying to sell me coke.
So did you get some?
No, I didn't get any. The biggest thing I got was some sort of flaming shot, which was also some sort of Portuguese specialty shot, I guess. And that was as crazy as I got over.
Well, that's good. That's good. Try the shot, but not the cocaine. That's great.
Yes.
I don't think that Europe's known for its cocaine.
So your father was a military guy. What
My father was in the military, and it was like a mandatory thing.
They made everyone do it.
Everybody had to go in, and I think that when he was in there, he got stuck in there because then there was some sort of war that started, and then it extended his stay, But
now, did you ended up in a musical career?
Well,
did your father, was he okay with that?
Well, here's the thing. I don't really think that he ever thought that I was gonna do it seriously
as a career.
It's something that I'm sure that you had a passion for what you do, right?
Yep.
From a very young age, and you kind of fall into it, and you keep on doing it, and it evolves into bigger and bigger things. And because my dad did play music, and so did my grandfather. They're both musicians, just not professionally. And barely what I do is barely professional, but it after a while, I think they're very proud parents.
So you didn't have a problem with that. I just always think of like a military guy, like he wants you to be very strict and regimented.
No, my dad he's pretty chill. He'll pour you a glass of port and tell you an old story. He's like one of those guys,
Yeah.
He's a good guy.
That's the one thing I didn't do in Portugal is apparently there's some sort of port. There's a port museum or something that they had.
Yeah,
there.
But that's in the north of Portugal. That's where I'm from.
Oh, okay. All right.
Like port wine.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
It's like champagne only comes from the area. Champagne port only comes from Porto.
And port will f you up in 2 seconds if you've never had this
because it's very sweet and you're like, oh, yummy.
Yeah,
then next thing you know, you're like, I love you.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's crazy. Crazy juice, babe.
Dinner,
oh, yeah. Many times. Crazy juice is what the port is.
Next time I'm gonna bring you a bottle, a good bottle. But like, if you drink it the right way, because it's an aperitif. And this is totally taking away my rock and roll credits because I know all this. I'm like, oh, it's a good aperitif. You just drink it with a little bit of brie.
He changed from all his Gucci clothes and Armani.
I was outside just putting with some but no, it's you're only supposed to have like a glass, and it's kind of more of a sipping wine that you have as a dessert. It's a little bit sweet, and people aren't familiar with it. They just chug that.
Do a shot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not a shot wine. It's just a treated wine. It's a little bit.
So your family ends up moving to the United States.
Yes.
You're how old at that point?
I think it was like 76. So I was probably like a couple of years old.
Okay. So a young age.
Very, very young.
You are settled on the East Coast.
Yep.
Grow up there.
Yep.
And
grew up in the same town. A town right out the outskirts of Boston. And
so, what do your parents do when because if they're in the Portuguese military, what did they do when they got over to the United States for a living?
It was they're educated people. My dad was a computer operating systems designer. My mom just retired. God bless her heart. And she was like a technical engineer. They're really, really smart people, and they came here and they just hustled. They got the hustle.
Then how'd you end up in Detroit? Because you moved to Detroit, I think, in your late teens.
What a lovely place we could go to move and to really mold
the whole family move, or just you?
No, just me.
Just you.
I went there. My brother was going to college there, so. I was getting a little trouble in the East Coast, and I was like, let me go to some other place.
You and Marky Mark, it seems like the East Coast is a trouble area.
Yeah, except Marky's got me a little bit on the checkbook aspect, just a bit,
a little bit, yeah.
But I am developing a good entourage type of story. But no, then I lived in Detroit for a long time, and I developed a few bands there, and I got a couple of deals that didn't generate as much interest as what I'm doing now. Obviously.
How'd you end up in Louisville then?
Well, after I started the band, 3 of the guys in the band, as when you meet the other guys, they all have highly Southern accents.
Uh-huh.
So it was just easy for the fact that I actually take pride in what I do. Go figure.
So you want to move down there?
So I moved down there so that we could rehearse and become tighter, and it wasn't so inconvenient, But now that we've been a band for so long, and we've got this professionalism down, that I feel like I can, I'll still own my house there, and then I'll be close to my family.
Now, how did Hugo Ferreira is here with us from Tantric? They'll be at the Agora tonight, 7 p.m. The band Tantric was this put together by one of the guys from Days of the New or something?
No,
or how did this come about?
It's a whole misconception, and basically what it is there was a band called Days of the New, and then I was in a band called Merge out of Detroit. We were both managed by the same company. Anyways, yada, yada, yada. The singer for Days of the New fires his band. They're actually doing a reunion tour right now, but fires the whole band. I'm managed by the same company. I basically take all of these songs, and the band that I had was kind of a little flaky as far as them committing to the amount of work that's required to actually succeed in this business. So I took those guys, put them under this band, and added some of the songs that I had already written. We wrote some new songs together, and then we created a band called Carbon 14, which then we got a deal with on Madonna's label at the time, and we were with her for about 3
So
records.
how does the guy from Days of the New factor into this thing?
He doesn't. That's the whole thing.
Oh,
He's just, like, I don't know. He doesn't.
Okay.
I've met the guy maybe like 6 times in my whole life.
all right, so he didn't really have anything to do with it, is what you're telling me.
Nothing.
So Wikipedia or wherever my producer got this is all
I was
wrong.
talking to my friends about that yesterday, my bandmates. I'm like, Wikipedia is just like, it's completely useless.
It is.
What is the point of it?
Let me tell you.
I can go over there and just write anything.
Let me tell you what
Like
I'll tell you a funny
the
story.
internal combustion engine.
I'll tell you a funny story. Years ago, I was sued by someone for something that I said on the air.
Oh,
and,
Jesus.
I've been sued numerous times. And
Yeah.
so their attorney wrote in one of these motions that they filed in this lawsuit something about, and he sourced our Rover's Morning Glory Wikipedia page. And he's like, according to Wikipedia, blah, 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 blah. And I go, first of all, what
so
a horrible
stupid.
attorney is sourcing Wikipedia. So what I
retarded.
did, I called my agent and my attorney. I get them all on the line. I go, all right, here's how I think we should reply to this. I changed our Wikipedia page to say that attorney who had filed that motion was the biggest idiot on the planet and he was going to lose his case. So we then filed a response sourcing
That's
Wikipedia that
awesome.
said, according to Wikipedia, this case is without merit and the attorney is an idiot.
Right.
And it was, we won
I
that
don't
case.
even know, like, how that makes sense, or the word pedia or anything kind of referencing encyclopedia should be associated with that name. It should just be called write whatever the frick you want.
yeah. I mean, that makes a little bit more sense. So, because I was going to say, all right, so the guy from Days of the New had nothing to do with it. I heard that guy, because when Days of the New came out, who was also, I guess, are they from the Louisville area?
They're from Indiana.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. Which is, it's like right across the river, but there is a big difference.
When I first got into radio, it would have been approximately 1996, I
Yeah,
think.
it was right around that time when that band came out.
So,
I
yeah,
think.
Days of the New came out shortly after that.
Yeah, they were like really young kids. When they were, like 15,
And I
16.
remember I met them, but I don't have any personal stories about them or anything. But all I remember is
nice shoes, buddy.
I remember that the guy was. The story was that the guy was a super a-hole. The guy was the lead singer.
Well, I don't like to talk out of school, and I definitely don't need any drama. but he was definitely an a-hole every time I met him. You know what I'm saying? Like I said,
like why? Why he's just full of himself, or thought he was so
I'm
great?
just like not a big fan of people that are like musicians and then they act like total a-holes all day long. They're like, oh, I'm so much cooler. You don't understand my plight. I'm like, what? Your dad only got your 3 series and it was baby blue. Oh my God, I'm so sorry. No, but he was just like thought he was a reincarnation of Jim Morrison. And really, I personally am a fan of his music. I just like it's too much work to talk to you. First
do you
of all,
do you run into people in the industry who are in bands and stuff that are a-holes?
Oh yeah.
I mean, what would you say percentage of lead singers of bands that are cool and ones that are a-holes?
Well, the ones that I consider my friends are, I speak to all the time and they're pretty good. But I would say a good more than 50%.
Really?
More than 50%, especially the ones that are, it's ironically not the ones that are like super, super huge. Like Brad from Three Doors Down is a good buddy of mine. He's like very humble, very cool guy. And this guy is like sold like 100 billion quadrillion records,
Uh-huh.
It's more like the guys that are just like, we almost went gold like in 84. And like, we're like the third on opening for you. And we personally requested Evian. And I'm like, I personally requested Evian bottles to be shaped like penises and you could shove them straight up your ass. And that's how I deal with that.
So like they have something to prove, or they have to walk around with an air of...
Honestly, I've got my own things to do, and I try to just de-surround myself with.
So this guy from Three Doors Down, he's a cool guy. Who else is cool like, in the industry?
I came up with like the guys from Fuel, obviously, are really nice. All the guys from Alter Bridge, really nice. Bob Rock, Kid Rock was always a really nice guy to me. I mean, I've known him forever,
and he's a down-to-earth cool guy.
Yeah, a couple of the guys that I actually out on this record, Shooter Jennings, obviously, his dad is Waylon Jennings. I've known him for a decade and a half, and super nice guy.
Did you say he's on this record of yours? Or
yeah,
what?
he's actually singing a couple of tracks. He sings on Mosquito with me, which is kind of like this like dirty or country rock. Even though I'm not a big country guy, this one just has a country twang. And Andrew Winkler from Hinder. He sings on a couple of songs.
The Shooter Jennings, who was he engaged to? I remember
he was engaged to the chick from, and he's actually has 2 kids with her from The Sopranos. Chris's wife. I forgot her name.
That's right. Because we had her on the show, and that was the first time that she was engaged to him, and we had her on the show.
Yeah.
What's her name, Rob?
Dre DiMatteo.
Dre DiMatteo.
Yeah.
They have 2 beautiful kids.
And so,
but her real personality, like the few times I did hang out with her, was like, she's a tough ass.
She is.
You don't want to,
Is that code for a total bitch?
No, I didn't know her that well to make that reference. I mean, she seemed very nice, but she seemed like
she didn't put up with any crap.
Being a person that goes out with an Italian, she definitely had that Italian like.
So she wouldn't put up with any crap. She had a fiery temper. Is basically what you're getting.
Hot and pepper.
Because she,
See, I'm like.
You're very diplomatic. Yeah, you should get into politics.
I know.
She came on the show, and that was the first time that she revealed that she had broken up with Shooter Jennings, because it was right in the news, like the day before. There was something on TMZ how she's engaged, and I talked to her about it. She's like, "Well, we broke up." I go, "What happened?" She goes, "I forget the story that she gave us. I don't even remember. This was quite some time."
Shooter was at my house the other day, and he never. I mean, not that I try to peer into people's lives like that. I'm like, so, it's like, yep. It was one of those. That was as deep as the conversation got.
That's how guys talk. I mean,
we're just like grunts.
Yeah, right.
I don't know.
And then she was
build
upset.
a fire.
She was upset because they broke up, and then he immediately went off and married some other chick like a week later or something like that. I don't know the whole details, but I think he's married now, or he was, or I don't know what the hell's going on with him.
But he's a really cool artist, and he's like a shooter himself. I mean, I don't know if you're familiar with his music, but he's like, he just has this like legendary blood in him. His dad was Waylon Jennings, obviously, and over the years he's just made some really great music that I personally really like, that I wouldn't even consider like in a country realm, even though he's considered kind of in that realm. It's more of like a dirty, like, I don't know, South type of thing.
I just had a text message from someone who believes that Hugo is faking this voice that he has because he's trying to sound sexy.
I don't know how sounding like a Briggs and Stratton is sexy, but here's the thing. This is my real speaking voice, and every time I talk to somebody before I actually like go on stage, like people are like, man, should I get my money back? But my speaking voice always sounds, and I'm completely aware of how like extreme it does sound. But
what were you going to say, Dom?
Well, Dieter is known for he has one voice he can do.
Yes.
And people were suggesting that it's Dieter faking Hugo's voice. 'Cause he has a recognizable voice. But it's
Dieter, can you do your...
Yeah, this is me, Hugo here. I'm going to sing in a couple minutes.
Yeah, Hugo actually never showed up, so we're just faking the whole interview with Dieter filling in.
That's awesome. You know who has a voice like this? And I did a show, and I don't know anything about sports. It's Farrell.
Scott Farrell, yes.
And like,
it was like talking to yourself, basically?
It was like talking to myself. And I'm like, that sounds painful. And he's like, it is. I'm like, really? And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, yeah. I'm pretty sure everybody who's listening is completely confused.
Now, is this voice, did you smoke as a kid, or is this just your natural voice?
I don't know. I really don't know. But it works for me. So, it's not like I complain. It's pretty resilient. It's not like I have like a Andrea Bocelli type of range, But it when I sing it doesn't translate. It still sounds raspy, but it's not like. But I've met a lot of other singers that have really smooth singing voices, and they sound like when they talk. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's just my mom gave me a lot of spicy food and the acid reflux or something like that. I don't know what it is, but people that are tantric fans, they seem to like it.
Are you married? You single? What's the story?
I'm not. I've never been married, but I'm in the process of arranging such things.
So you're engaged.
I am.
And how long have you known this girl?
How long have I known that I'm engaged?
No, how long have you known the girl? Not how long have you known the guy. I assume you knew the day you got engaged.
Not that long, actually. About 8-9 months.
Oh boy.
But here's the thing.
Why? Wait a second. Let me ask you something. A serious question. If you only known her 9 months,
Yeah.
how old are you, Hugo?
40.
40 years old.
Yeah, old enough.
What is it about this girl that makes you want to do something you've never done in your 40 years on Earth?
It's not
which is
that
get
I've
married?
never wanted to. It's just that I need. She's just the perfect enough wise ass and beautiful and smart and nice. She has a very similar personality and grew up just like 3 miles down the street from my parents' house. Even though I'd been all over the world, ironically, you go and meet this girl, and I went to this like little pub when I was visiting my parents for Christmas. My parents are from like a little small town called Hudson, Mass. Right?
Mm-hmm.
It's like 16,000 people. Went to high school there. Blah blah blah. I'd go over there with my friends who are my age that are married and have kids that are. Normally, they're in their 20s and stuff, and I've never had kids, never been married, none of that. I'd go in, having a beer with a couple of, and then just kind of met her, and she didn't know who the heck I was, and I went up to her, and I was like, hey, what's up? And I think she flipped me off, and I bought her a shot. We fell in love, and yada, yada. She's in the bus.
So
she's a really great girl. She's awesome.
How old is she?
She is 26.
Oh, that's perfect.
Yeah.
So that's right up your...
Yeah, I mean, it's not like I'm was aiming for somebody young or anything. She's very beautiful, but she's also super cool, She'll, don't piss her off, but I think you can say that.
Who has a worse temper, her or Dre Di Matteo?
I don't know. It might be a good matchup. You know, depending on how much Merlot is involved. You know.
So when are you getting married? Do you have a date set?
Nothing like that. It was just, you know.
How'd you propose? Did you do anything?
I'm like, hey, you with the finger that doesn't have the thing on it. You want to do that thing? And, you know.
Where'd you do it? Did you go out to dinner? Did you get down on one knee? What did you do?
It was very, completely unromantic and very, like, stereotypical. We just knew that it was, like, me and her, we were tight. It was cool. And, you know, I got her a ring that she picked out, you know. And, you know, it was kind of like that. You know, we just knew it was, I'm not one of those type of guys who does that. I'm just, that, you know, I'll write you a song, you know, and then that song will be sincere. And that's a good, easy way for me to express myself. But I'm not the guy who, like, throws rose petals and you have to follow him into the, you know, room. And then there's a secret question. And then,
that's exactly what Dumb, my phone screener, did. Honest to God, he had a CD that he made.
Yeah,
he's now divorced, of course.
Right,
it didn't work
See?
out. He made a CD, and it was what was it? Some sort of
a treasure hunt.
It was a love scavenger hunt, Rover.
Scavenger hunt. And so she had to go from room to room and find this and find that.
So you actually did what I just said?
Oh yeah, man! I started off. I started.
See, in retrospect, now are you pissed off that you put all that effort into it?
Well, I'm only pissed off because these guys found about it.
Well, we got this. We got the CD. I don't know where our audio guy is. He's normally in there. He'd play a sound clip of it, but he's obviously dicking around.
Smoking.
But yeah, he's probably down smoking right now. But we actually have the CD, and it's like, oh man, it's
awesome.
It's pretty.
But
bad.
you know what? I mean, good for you for doing that. You know what I'm saying? If I had a daughter,
then he got divorced and he started dating a 20-year-old stripper. So there you go.
Better for you.
A week after he moved out of his house, he's dating a 20-year-old stripper.
Everything that you just said to me sounds like an awesome idea.
Right?
Right on. I'm very proud of you, and I don't even know you that well.
Thank you.
Hugo Ferreira is here from Tantric. They are going to be performing at the Agora tonight, 7 p.m. For tickets, call 216-881-2221 or go to clevelandagora.com. I'm going to take a quick break. We'll let everyone else from the band come in here, get set up, and you guys are going to play, what, 2 songs or something? Or what are you guys going to do?
Whatever you want us to do. It's your show. We just work here.
What are you guys going to play for us today?
We're going to play the first single that we ever released in our career called Breakdown first, and then we're going to play something from the new record, 37 Channels. How about that?
All right.
Sounds good?
Hey.
You seem to have control, but deep within your soul, you're losing it. You never took the time, assume that you're to blame. You think that you're insane, just spare me. I know the breakdown, everything's gonna shake down someday. I know the breakdown, tell me again, am I awake now? Maybe you can find the reason that no one else is living this way. Yeah, living this way. Yeah. Your world is built around 2 faces of a clown. The voices in your head think they're 4 bombs down. But in this unity, fate has found the need. So you better check yourself before you check out. I know the breakdown, everything is gonna shake down someday. I know the breakdown, tell me again, am I awake now? Well, you can find the reason that no one else is living this way. Yeah, living this way. Yeah. If you found yourself, then you're yourself, you just might conceive. Oh, I know the breakdown, everything's gonna shake down someday. I know the breakdown. Tell me again, am I awake now, baby? You can find the reason that no one else is living this way. Yeah, we're living this way. Oh, so you can find the reason that you can find the reason that way. You can find the reason that you can find the reason that way. You can find the reason that you can find the reason that way. You can find the reason that.
Yeah. Oh, here we go.
What is that song about?
Well, it was it was kind of touching on about me hating the stereotypical rock star. You know.
Oh. Was it about someone that in particular?
Well, it was just about me seeing a lot of people that were given a lot of opportunity, kind of just throw it away and step on everybody on the way to that opportunity, and then be forgotten.
All right.
Ta-da.
What else do you have?
On this new record, it's called Tantric. So obviously, sticking with the band name, I always felt like that's a good idea. To continue that process. And the record's called 37 Channels, and this is kind of more of a laid-back song, and it's called You Got What You Wanted.
All right.
Do you think you're sad? You're thinking as you do it now. Do you think I'm mad? Don't you get it here? I'm so over riding out the thing that I'm supposed to be. Just let me be one. You got what you want, yeah. You got what you needed. But don't ever think that I will understand. I might be alone here, but my nothing is clear. I do what I do to take another breath. I saw red flags when I look at ceilings. I can never rest my head. So I'll stand off this misery. Don't want no company, so stay away from me. Just leave me alone. You got what you wanted, you got what you needed. But don't ever think that I will understand. I might be alone here, but my nothing is clear. I do what I do, come on now, baby. Guitar. Think that I will understand. I might be alone here, but my nothing is clear. I do what I do. Come on now. Did you get what you wanted? You got what you needed. But don't ever think that I will understand. I might be clear. Why do what I do? Come on, now, baby. Well, you got what you wanted. You got what you needed, but don't ever think that I won't understand. I might be lonely, but my nothing is clear. Oh, I do what I do to take another breath.
Yeah, here we go.
It's got that second song in there. Yeah.